This is a big one, gang. Gang. This is a big one, microphone. This is the 9th video of 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. Could something interesting happen this video? The only way to learn is to continue. You and me, microphone. We're going to make some progress. Whatever might have been beyond the glass in the room below us, Junpei couldn't tell. It was too dark. Junpei turned to look at the right side of the room. There was a table covered with a piece of cloth. Parts of the cloth were stained with something that looked suspiciously like blood. On top of the table were a number of metal instruments. Junpei didn't know what they were for, and he had a feeling he didn't want to find out. His mind began to imagine what could have taken place in that dark, cold room. The things he imagined were not pleasant. Junpei shook his head in an attempt to clear it, and tried to focus on something else. I'm also really enjoying this game's, what would you call it? Penchant for anti-hyperbole? Junpei did not seem happy at all at being told that he had woken up in a ship, perhaps in the ocean, with no way off, and was going to die in 9 hours. He was not happy. I mean, all these games are like this. They're the direst possible situations, and they make you want to die, even to contemplate, but they're also really fucking funny. Anyway, we don't want to stay here any longer than we got to. Let's figure out the puzzle and get the hell out of here. Come on. Okay, I will. Torture room? What a name. I'm gonna start where we started. Oh dear. So what I should point out, it's not clear in the video, I am doing this with the touchscreen. Okay. A number of rusty torture tools are lined up here. I don't think there's anything else here we need. Okay. This... Of course, the entrance is locked. It's been like that in every room we've been in. What did you expect? There's no point to try to go back. Let's just think about going forward, alright? Oh, Cover's bolted on there pretty good. Should be able to get those bolts off with this wrench we just found, though. Oh, sick. Sweet, it's open. And? The hole's too small, you can't see in even with the cover off. Well, you can't see in, but I think there's enough room to stick your arm in. Are you sure you want to do that? There could be something dangerous in there. Okay, I admit that scares me a little, but we need to see if there's anything useful in there. Look. Alright, here we go. Arm into the hole. Hey, I think I can feel something. It's small, cold, and hard. Doesn't feel like there's anything else in here. Alright, let's see what this thing is. Sun key. Okay. In this door? Well, I guess we can't force this one open. Figures. If it was that easy, we wouldn't be having this tough of a time. Well, it isn't. So why don't we have our tough time of it and figure out a way to open the door? Alright, jeez, chill. What are we looking at here? Needle on the gauge is at 0. Doesn't look like it's going to move. There are a ton of knobs here. Doesn't seem like any of them do anything, though. Do you think it's broken? These levers have got to turn something on. Of course they would. All they can do is turn something on or off. What's important is what they turn on or off. Don't say the floor is going to suddenly open up. Well, I don't want to. What's wrong, Junpei? What are you doing on the floor? Well, I thought maybe if I got down here I could see through the glass. It's not working now. You don't think it's just a large sheet of glass they put into an indentation? I don't know, I mean, why would they do that? And the placement of the chair. You're not making sense, Junpei. What's your point? Well, I'm not sure, but don't you think there's something under the glass? The sun key should fit into the keyhole on the manacles. Okay. Alright, sun key, in you go. And yes. Great, they're open. I don't think we're gonna need the sun key in here again, though. Just seems unlikely. Alright, sun key, you've done your job. Into my pocket with you. Something on the screen. This device will conduct the experiment. Once the experiment has been completed, the door will unlock. First, adjust the switches to match the blocks in the sample above. Huh. I don't know what this thing is, but we gotta figure out this puzzle. It's right next to a torture chair. Whatever it is, I don't think it's good. Anyway, we just adjust the switches to match the blocks up on top, right? You adjust the switches shown at the four corners of the screen, then press the check button. Junpei, we don't know what this thing does. You can always come back to it later. There are lots of other things you could do. I mean, are there? I mean, it seems extremely obvious. Exactly what this thing does. Wait. I did it? Okay. Adjustment is completed. Now proceeding to execution phase. To complete the experiment, data must be collected from the subject. Once preparation is finished, place subject in chair. Whoa, I thought we solved the puzzle already. What does it mean by preparation? I don't know. I've got a bad feeling about this. I think this means one of us has got to sit in the chair. Well, 7's never going to fit in that thing. It's either you or me, Junpei. Collecting data. Wonder if it's going to run electricity through the subject. There's a human head on the screen. Maybe it's going to zap the brain with a little electricity. This really doesn't sound safe. Anyway, we've still got to prepare. We can talk about this after we figured out what it means by preparation. Alright? Well, it wants us to prepare, so maybe we ought to ask it what we need to do. Can I ask you what you need to do? The disposal tank is closed. Please fill tank with water. What tank? Oh man, don't tell me we gotta do something with a water tank. There's probably something around here to open the tank, or whatever it's asking us to do. It looks like the only controls are in this room. No, come on. Controls for the tank, I guess. I don't think examining the chair is going to cause that machine to do anything. Should probably take a look at the monitor instead. Well, check. The floor is glass. You really think it's safe to have a chair here? Well, you can tell just by standing on it that the glass is pretty damn thick. Don't you think it's a little strange that only this part is glass? That chair looks pretty heavy all by itself. That glass could be dangerous. We'd be in some serious trouble if that glass broke. Probably shouldn't walk on it. Cables sure don't look very pleasant. This looks like something from a prison movie. They come all the way down from the ceiling. Just trying to look up that high is making my neck hurt. Needle on the gauge is set at 0. All of the dials are pointing in different directions. Maybe something will happen if we turn them. Shoot. They're all rusted. Guess turning them doesn't really do anything. What about these buttons? There are a bunch of buttons here with the letters A through F on them. Let's push some of them. Down you go. So if I press it again, back you come. I guess these buttons switch something on or off when you push them. Red, yellow. I think the colors mean something? No idea. I mean, red looks more dangerous, but other than that, the bottom of this one looks like it's covered in rust. I don't think it'll move at all. How about the yellow one? You can see some oil or something down there at the base of the lever. Yeah, it feels like it's got some movement to it. I should be able to pull this one. Alright, let's pull the lever. Ah, is that water? What the hell? What's going on? Will you calm down? It's just water going somewhere. It sounds like it's underneath us. That means the floor. Oh! Junpei, look! What's she? Oh, damn! I can see through the glass now. What do I see? Ooh. E, D, B, F. There are a couple of letters in the color of blood written on the shark's belly. It's dead. That's a shark who's belly up to the glass. Looks like the letters are E, D, B, and F. Whatever these are for has to be in this room somewhere. Well, I know where that is. I guess I'm going to push E, D, B, F. What? There's a strange noise coming from the chair. It looks like it's been turned on. I guess the puzzle here was that the power had to be sent in a specific way. Oh. And now that I have... The restraining device is unlocked. Please seat subject in device. The message on the screen was disturbingly detached. Like we thought, it's not going to work unless someone sits in it. How ironic that this would be the situation in which this slim, beautiful body is useful. Lotus, are you sure? I can sit in it and you can solve... Junpei's right. We screw it up. Seven couldn't bring himself to finish the thought. His eyes fell to the floor. Junpei followed them. Beneath them was the dead shark, floating underneath the glass. Perhaps it had been killed by an electric shock. I'll be fine. Even if I fall in, the shark is already dead. But no one likes an indecisive man, Junpei. I can still give you advice from the chair, too. I can still give you advice from the chair, too, you know. I just don't want to stay in this room any longer than we have to. Go over to that screen, and let's get this over with. After her words had made it clear that Lotus would brook no argument, she turned and walked toward the chair without hesitation. But she did not sit down. Despite what she had said, she did indeed feel hesitation. Her legs shook. Look, do you think you could do me one last favor? Don't say last. You're making me nervous. Just listen. If something happens to me, I want you to tell my daughters that I loved them very much. No. Tell them that I will always love them. Daughters. Daughters. You You got kids? Yes, I do. I suppose they're about your age, Junpei. They're twins. I had them when I was young after some things happened. Their names are Nona and... Wait, Nona? Junpei's words shot out before he even realized what he was saying. He remembered the story Seven had told him. Aoi, Light, and Nona. Those were their names. Well, some of the kids that were there in the experiment, I mean. What the hell? What's wrong with you? Lotus took a step back from Junpei. Seven looked just as shocked as Junpei. He blinked his eyes rapidly, as if he weren't sure he was completely awake. No way. It couldn't. Lotus, is your last name Kashiwabara? Lotus's eyes went wide. How do you know that? Are you serious? What the hell is this? There's no way you're that kid's mom. That kid? What do you mean, that kid? Why are you acting like you've met her? Seven's brow furrowed. I have. What? Yeah, I met one of your kids. When? 9 years ago. 9. Where? On this ship. Why were you... It's not a short story. I don't care how long it is. Tell me, please. What happened here? Seven glanced at Junpei, then turned back to Lotus and began to speak. It was the same story Junpei had heard only minutes before. Every detail. Missing kids, being a cop, getting put into a cell, and then finding that. Wait, I'm realizing something. At last, Seven finished. Lotus shook her head. Oh my god. Everything I've been looking for the last 9 years, the person who had all the answers, was right here. Looking for? Yes, that's right. 9 years ago, my daughters disappeared. Then 9 days later, they came back. They never told me what had happened to them over those 9 days. I took them to the doctor, but I was told they hadn't been hurt in any way. Still, I was sure that they had been through something terrible, so I couldn't bring myself to force them to talk about it. If I did, then I'd force them to relive whatever horrors they'd been through. I didn't have any choice. I had to try to ignore it and move on. A few months passed. Gradually, they started to act like they always had before they disappeared. They smiled and made jokes and did all the silly things kids do. It got harder and harder for me to ask about what had happened. How could I ask them to remember that? Eventually, I knew there was no way I could do it. But I'm still a mother. I couldn't simply forget that something terrible had happened to my children. So I decided I would investigate what had happened on my own. I would find out what had happened during those 9 missing days. What did you find out? Nothing. The police pretended to be concerned, but they didn't do anything. Once the 16 children who'd gone missing came back, things were just swept under the rug. Even the media didn't talk about what had happened. I figured someone was probably paying or threatening them to keep their mouths shut. Cradle Pharmaceutical. No, probably something even bigger than that. Cradle Pharmaceutical. Have you heard of them before? No, that's the first time I've ever heard that name. Seven, how did you find out that Cradle Pharmaceutical was connected to the kidnappings in the first place? I figured finding out whatever the victims had in common would lead me to the culprit. That's what any good cop does. What did they have in common? Oh wait, that's Junpei. What did they have in common? Every single one of the kids who disappeared had gone to this one hospital at some point. The hospital was one of a bunch that were under the control of Cradle Pharmaceutical. After that, it was just about connecting the dots. The hospital. The hospital. For a while, I was trying to get some kind of story out of the kids at the hospital. One of them told a weird story. What was it? You heard about the Gansfeld... Wait, have you heard about the Gansfeld experiment? I guess all these kids had to go through it while they were at the hospital. I think it was passed off as some sort of counseling. Seven cleared his throat and proceeded to explain the Gansfeld experiment. And Jury took a sip. Wait, hang on. First, subject Q and A are put into separate rooms, far away from one another. Then a series of video images are shown to subject Q, who is told to send the images to subject A by thinking about them. Subject A, on the other hand, is put in a large reclining chair and given a blindfold. With their senses cut off, A is asked to guess what images Q is looking at. Oh yes, I've heard of that. It's a famous telepathy experiment, isn't it? It's a version of what they're doing at the very beginning of the movie Ghostbusters. Telepathy. Telepathy. Junpei rolled the word over in his mind. That's how the experiment on this ship was supposed to work. The experiment to control people, right? Yeah. I don't know if any of the telepathy stuff really exists, but maybe someone from Cradle Pharmaceutical bought into it. Lotus grunted. Seven had been thinking hard for the last several minutes and finally spoke. Even if that is the case, I still don't get how that has anything to do with any of this. The nonary game, Zero, why we were kidnapped. What does any of that have to do with telepathy? I know I brought all this up, but I have no idea. Maybe none of this stuff is connected after all. Then, in that moment of silence, a cold voice echoed down from the ceiling. No subject has been detected. Unless a subject is detected within 60 seconds, all power will be shut down. System recovery is estimated to take 1 hour. If you wish to proceed with the experiment, please seat subject in the restraining device. Whoa, that doesn't sound good. Yeah. Okay. I'm going. Oh no, that's not what we... Just hurry up and get it over with. Junpei, I'm counting on you. Right. Lotus sat down on the chair. Junpei looked at her one last time, then made his way to the monitor. Lotus, please tell me right away if you feel anything weird. You worry too much. Now get on with it and be a man, or June's going to leave you. Lotus was putting on the best act she could manage, but her legs were shaking so much that if she hadn't been sitting down, she likely would have fallen down. Failure was not acceptable. Junpei took one last deep breath and stared at the monitor. Uh-huh. Oh. Oh shit, okay. No, not check. This is fine. No. One seems solved. I don't know at all what I'm doing. Wait, hang on. 3, 2, 1, 3, 3. Okay, shit. Okay, now this one's good. Oh, I don't understand. This doesn't have anything that it connects to even. Two is those two on. One doesn't do anything. Calm down, Junpei. Just look at it carefully, alright? First off, the number of blocks ain't gonna change. All that's gonna change is the shape. Just like in the first game, you gotta match your pointy blocks to the ones up top. Do you know how to figure out how many blocks change with each switch? Yeah, turn everything off, then just do one switch at a time, right? Close enough. You just gotta pay attention to how many blocks change. Alright, Junpei. Looks like you've got to match the number of pointed blocks. Rotate it to the left and right, but the switches work a little different. Just focus on how many blocks are changed when you press the switch. After at the beginning of this game, it took almost an entire minute to explain to me how a calculator works. The fact that this one didn't even get the barest explanation until I tried and failed. Old. Also, that dictates not. So here's what I'm going to try. That one does something on the top. And okay. Okay, getting there. Did that change anything over here? I have absolutely no idea. Wait. Okay, so 1, 2. That matches. Can I do this one-sided check? Error. God damn it. Just keep it simple. It's just like the last one you did. Well, okay, it's pretty close. For instance, when the 1 on this switch is on, how many blocks turn pointy? Let's just say 2 of them do, okay? And if you press the 2 on another switch, 3 of them turn pointy. Using those two switches, you make 5 blocks pointy. Makes sense? That's how you gotta solve it. Yeah, you're right. It's just more addition, but there's the sides are let me see. I go here, I push 1. 3 pointy blocks. Go here. Off. No pointy blocks. Okay. This one, 3, 5. Okay, here's how I'm going to think of it then. This sucks, but it is okay. Oh shit. It is in order. It goes just row by row. So, and does it... On this side, I need 4 and 4. And on this side, I need 7 and 6. So, 1. I need scratch paper. I'm gonna pause this while I do scratch paper. This whole thing, well, we'll see. Okay, now, this is information gathering. They're all off. We're gonna start on the left. So on the left side, the first one adds 1 in the left top, 2 in the left bottom. 2 on the right top, 3 on the right bottom. And remembering that on the right we need top needs to be 7, bottom needs to be 6. And 2 is 1 and 1. Left top needs to be 4. Left bottom needs to be 4. And then 1 and 0. One and 0. 2 and 2. One and 1. 1 and 2. All right, so then this one will... Yep, okay. 2 and 0. 0 and 2. 2 and 0. 2 and 1. 0 and 0. Might as well. 1 and 1. 2 and 1. You're at 1. So if I wanted to get 4, I turn on any one of both of the lefts. Okay. I now have my table, which is rudimentary and hopefully helpful, but you can't see it because you're just a microphone. Do left 1, and then right bottom 2. After left 1. Left top 1. Wait a minute. Let's test this hypothesis. Let's do 1s all the way down. So that should give me oh, this sucks. This is a kind of thinking that I don't do. That should give me on the left side across the top should give me 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4. Across the bottom should give me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. On the right, that should give me 2, 4, 6. Across the right bottom, it should give me 3, 5. That's 5. Okay, so to get that, I switched this. So now this side is ready because that gives me 7 and 6. But now on this side, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I need to switch this one. Doesn't affect the right side. It does affect the left. And I think that did it. Yes! Oh, thank you, table. The experiment has concluded. The door will now unlock. I can hear the door unlocking. And now we've got a new message. Release subject from restraining device. Lotus, are you alright? Yes, I am. I'm glad nothing bad happened. But I do think my life just got a little shorter. Hold on, I'll get you out right away. Shouldn't take long for 7 and me to get her out of here. Let's get out of here now. Being a guinea pig is not for me. Damn straight. I don't ever want to see this thing again. Screen says door unlocked. Prove it. Outside of the room, a hallway led off to their left. With nowhere else to go, they started down it. It turned left twice before they saw the elevator. In silence, they jogged up to it. Junpei pushed the C button. The elevator motor ground away, and before long they found themselves once again on C deck. Door opened, and they stepped off. Junpei, Lotus, and 7 nodded at one another and took off running down the long hallway in front of them. They ran and ran and ran. The hallway seemed endless. Their destination had already been decided, the door behind the central staircase. There was a sun symbol engraved on the keyhole of that door, and Junpei had the sun key in his pocket. That key would open the door. It had to. That was why they ran for the central staircase. They had run for quite some time when they arrived at the door that ended the hallway. The Jupiter door was already unlocked. Junpei grabbed hold of the doorknob and threw it open. They rushed through and stopped cold. The terrible scene before them made their blood run cold. Ah! 3 people lay dead on the floor, covered in blood. Junpei felt a cold sweat trickle down his spine. He couldn't breathe. His legs shook. His body felt cold, deathly cold. But his blood was boiling hot. He could feel his mind begin to fade. He couldn't think. He couldn't concentrate. His mind was blank.
What the hell? What the hell happened?
Seven's voice was weak and broken. Not at all like Jerry just did it. He edged toward the bodies, his movements stiff. He bent down over Clover and pressed his fingers to her wrist.
Nothing. She's dead.
Suddenly, Lotus moved. Before he understood what was happening, her hand was in Junpei's vest pocket. Hey, what are you doing? He leapt back. Lotus looked up at him, terrified. The key! Give me the sun key. Why? Why do you think? We have to get out of here before the murderer comes back. The murderer. The murderer. Once again, Junpei looked at the dead bodies. Santa, Clover, and Ace. That meant that the person who had killed them was... No, it couldn't be true. Before Junpei could react, Lotus dove back into his pocket and came out with the key. Let's go! Without waiting for Seven or Junpei, she ran straight for the central staircase. They followed. Junpei shut his eyes and swallowed his emotions. Morning would have to wait. Soon they stood in front of the door. Lotus shoved the sun key into the keyhole and twisted it hard. But... Why?
What happened?
Nothing. Nothing happened. I didn't feel it unlock.
Oh no. Is it the wrong key?
I don't know. Maybe. Lotus sighed, defeated, and leaned against the doorknob. She felt it twist. Huh? A small gap appeared between the door and the frame.
What the hell is this?
You mean... The door was already unlocked.
Why?
How would I know that? Whatever. Let's just go on. Lotus took a deep breath and slowly opened the door the rest of the way. They stepped inside. In front of them was another hallway. It stretched out toward the bow of the ship. They began to run. Faster and faster they ran, trying desperately to reach the end of the hallway. A few seconds later, they were there. In front of them stood a massive metal door. They were all breathing heavily as Junpei spoke. What the hell is this door? I can't see anything that looks like a doorknob or switch or lever or card reader or anything. How the fuck are we supposed to open this?
We don't have a choice. We're gonna have to go back.
No. I'm not going back there. There's a murderer back there. There was no more stark terror in Lotus's voice. There was more stark terror in Lotus's voice than authority. She was almost begging.
But I don't see any other doors.
Oop. Wait, can I see any other doors? Oh wait, I'm not clear on where we are. And I pushed that button by accident. I'm very sorry. As he spoke, Seven stepped toward the door in front of them as if to illustrate that it was the only door. It opened. Nothing surprising. A simple automatic door.
Look guys, I've got a really bad feeling about this. The other doors were already unlocked and this one's automatic. We haven't seen anything like this before.
How could their situation possibly get worse? 3 people were already dead. They'd hit the bottom, Junpei told himself. There was nowhere to go but up. He stepped through the door. And whatever hope Junpei had managed to summon disappeared. No. No. It wasn't true. It couldn't be true. It was impossible. Utterly impossible. It was a dream. It had to be a dream. A nightmare, yes. It was a nightmare, and if he could just wake up, he was seeing things. Yes, that was it. This was a hallucination. A lie. It wasn't real. It wasn't real. It wasn't real, right? June? No. The code names meant nothing now. Connie. Connie. Junpei cried out and leapt through the door. He flew to her side, his heart like a stone in his chest. Connie, hang on. Junpei swept her up and shook her by the shoulder. She moaned and her eyes fluttered open, but only barely. Connie. Jumpy? Her face was pale and her lips were dry and cracked. Her eyes were blank and cloudy. They stared straight at Junpei but saw nothing. Junpei put his hand against the small of her back to hold her up. It felt warm and wet. He lifted his hand up. It was covered in blood. Oh man, Connie. What the hell happened to you? How did this happen? It was all he could do not to break into tears. Jumpy, I'm sorry. Her voice was thin, a minuscule thread that was the only thing keeping her with him. I might not make it. No way. No way am I going to let you die. I'm going to save you, I promise. Thank you, Jumpy. Thank you so much for everything. I was really happy to see you again, Jumpy. Really happy. Don't give me that I was crap. You're going to see me again lots more times. You've just got to hang on, all right, Connie? You... What could he do? He looked up from Connie, desperate for something, anything. Then he saw it. A small submarine. Submarine? What on earth was a submarine doing here? Nope, that didn't matter. Nothing mattered except saving Connie. That was the only thing he wanted. Junpei turned his head back to look down at her. Hang on, all right? There's a submarine over there. I'm gonna go see if it works. No, don't go. Please, don't go. Please just stay with me, okay? I want to be close to you, Jumpy, when I... Connie? Jumpy, did you know? You meant a lot to me when we were kids. I've liked you for a long time, Junpei. A really long time. Junpei's vision had gone blurry. It took him a moment to realize his eyes were filled with tears. He could feel a piercing point of heat deep in his heart like a white-hot flame. Jumpy, do you remember how we hung out a lot when we were kids? We went to the pool and to the fair. You remember playing snowball at the school? They're all memories I'll never forget. All of those moments are treasures to me. But I also wanted to go to a lot of other places with you, a lot more, but that won't happen now. No, I mean, yes, it will happen. We'll go all sorts of places, Connie. You hear me? I promise we'll go wherever you want. Really? Yeah, really, I swear. That makes me happy. Really happy. She said it to herself, over and over, a weak smile creasing her tired face. Jumpy, I feel sleepy. No, Connie, don't fall asleep. Thank you, Jumpy. Thank you so much. Her eyes were slowly closing. Junpei screamed even as he felt his throat go hoarse. I'm not gonna scream. You can hear it though, can't you? Time passed. Junpei wept, curled around Connie's body. He cried and cried until he had no tears left. When the last tear fell, Junpei was no more. His body remained, but only as an empty shell. Somewhere, he heard a bell ring. It was the clock at the central staircase. Oh. It rang 5 times, then faded. 5 o'clock. Quietly, gently, softly, he set Connie down on the floor. Slowly, Junpei stood. Only then did he realize that Seven and Lotus had not followed him. Where had they gone? Slowly, he looked around the room. There was nothing, no sign that they had ever been there. Felt as though every part of Junpei's body was made of lead. Slowly, he made his way to the door he'd come through. As he approached it, it opened, sliding apart with a sound like gliding stone. Junpei passed through the gate and into the hallway. His heart rattled in his chest, an empty, lifeless thing. It had been so utterly broken that there was nothing left to feel. When he saw their bodies, he simply stared. It was a lake, a sea of blood. 2 bodies lay in it. There was no need to check. There was no breath left in them. His eyes lit on Lotus's wrist. Her bracelet. It was gone. He stared. It meant nothing to him. He didn't care anymore. He couldn't care anymore. Junpei's body felt numb. A part of him knew the lump of lead in his chest had once been a heart. He couldn't quite remember what it had been for. Tears poured from his eyes in great streams. He wasn't sure why. He gave up trying to make them stop. He turned around. The door opened again, and slowly, numbly, he went through. He kept walking. Why stop? An object set in motion, simple inertia carried him forward. Eventually, he found himself in front of the submarine. His arm reached for the hatch. And then he was floating in water. His eyes stared down into it. He couldn't see the bottom. His back was hot. Dimly, he felt the blade of a knife in it. Who? One dead body lay behind door number 5. The body of the 9th man. Another lay in the shower room. The body of Snake. At the central staircase were 3 more. Ace, Santa, and Clover. Just outside the door were 2 corpses. Those of Seven and Lotus. And in this very room lay the body that had once been Connie. And now, Junpei would join them. Who, then, had killed them all? Who? Boy, that's a good question. Junpei let out one last breath. Faintly, he felt the bubbles creep up the side of his face. His consciousness faded quickly, dissolving away into the cold, gentle lapping of the water. The end. Or I suppose, an end. Because yeah, that's right, nerds. This is one of those games that has multiple endings, and I just got one of the bad ones. I am going to let the credits roll, and I'm going to keep this as part of the video because I don't know. I got this from my dad. You should be watching these. You should soak in, not just, even if you're not going to recognize any of the specific names, you should take in the fact of how many people, individual, actual, creative people it takes to make one of these things. All of these people worked really hard to make this thing, and it wouldn't have happened without them. This wasn't a company. A brand didn't make this game. Kotaro Uchikoshi was the director, but he did not make this game. All of those people did. The end. Or is it? Boy, that's a good question. I want to see what it does now. You have reached one ending. This game has multiple endings. In order to experience all the endings, you need to save now. Once you've saved, you can restart the game with information you've acquired in this playthrough saved. Once you begin the game again, you can skip through text you've already seen. Simply press right on the control pad to fast forward through lines you've already read. Once you reach lines you haven't seen or new choices, it will automatically stop. The Memories of the Escape option has been added to the main menu. Memories of the Escape enables you to play the stages you have completed. It is recommended to save after this in order to unlock the Memories of the Escape. Oh, saving is my favorite thing to do, game. Would you like to keep the information you've gained during this playthrough? This data will be retained in your save file. Yes. All I want to do is save. I want to save everyone. Oh, one of the third class cabin, second class cabin, kitchen, operating room, whatever's behind door 1. There's 2 things behind door 1. Interesting. Well, begin with memories is what I will do. But not right now. We're not done. This is not over.